All right, welcome everyone to another video. I'm starting a new series here on the YouTube channel. I'm going to try to upload these videos on a daily basis, but because I'm quite busy with the work as the senior market analyst at the Prime XPT, doing research and writing technical reports for them on a daily basis, and also working on building up the Tradify crypto YouTube channel and all the trading and education content for them. There's a lot going on here, but I'm going to try to upload these videos on a daily basis or whenever I have the time and whenever I feel like I have something to show you guys. The idea with these videos is to take the quantitative analytical engine that I've built for Clarity Edge and help you all get aligned with the primary trends within the market. You've all heard the saying trade with the trend, right? And I think that's super important. So the whole idea here with these videos is to help you figure out what is the primary trend in the market. So whether you're a investor, swing trader, day trader, scalper, you should know what the overall market regime is and what the primary trend is telling us. So let's begin here by going through the I'm going to do full market scan here. So the idea with these videos is to begin with Bitcoin. Here's a quick overview of what's happening in the Bitcoin market, and then if I have any interesting altcoins, I'll show you that as well. And then we'll move on into the Forex market, taking a look at the interesting setups that we have in the Forex market, trying to figure out where we are in the overall cycle in these markets. And then we'll pop over into gold and the indices to get a broad understanding of the risk narratives that are out there right now and what the market is telling us from a technical perspective. All right, let's begin with Bitcoin then. So let me see, what do I have here? This is probably from a previous analysis I did. Yes, that is correct. That's a video. I recorded the video for Tradify Crypto yesterday, and I had that on right there. Right. Okay. So what are we seeing on Bitcoin? Well, first of all, let me walk you through the higher time frames right here. Kind of get an understanding of where we are in the bigger picture of things. Now, it's clear that we are in a downtrend, right? We're in a market structure that is in a declining phase, right? Bear market. We've exited accumulation here, began a bull market. Topped out at 126,000 end of last year, broke the range low. We had the 20 EMA crossing below the 50 EMA here in beginning of the year, and that lower high here on the weekly, and then the break below 80K here was the clear sign that we are now at least by my rules and looking at the regime filters that I've set up to kind of dictate all my trading. By those rules, we are definitely in a bear market. So what I'm seeing here is obviously a lot of weakness. Let's add the weekly 200 simple moving average here as well. Interestingly enough, on that big move to the downside, we hit the 60K support level, which is also confluent with that weekly 200 simple moving average. A few things. So this is the first video and the first breakdown of Bitcoin in a while, and the more videos we're going to be releasing, I might not do as much deep dive on these assets. I assume that you're watching the series and get to know the overall underlying foundation, but then in later series we're just going to do a quick overview. But obviously, this being the first video, we'll do a little bit more of a deep dive here and kind of get your the compass ready, in the pointing in the right direction, figuring out where is that true north. And for Bitcoin, the true direction and the primary trend we're looking at is to the downside. Now, with that said, even though we are in the bear market and the structure is quite bearish and there's momentum to the downside, we are of course forming a range here on the daily time frame with higher highs and higher lows locally, still forming, you know, locally. A lot of people probably look at this and say, well, Bitcoin is bullish. Well, not really. Like it's as bullish as it were here. That's also a local uptrend, and this is also a local uptrend. But that, to me, like a move up here is a secondary trend. The move up here is the secondary trend. We're not looking to trade the secondary trends that is running counter to the primary trends. We want to, if we see a, you know, a relief rally or a move to the upside in a primary downtrend, we want to make sure that we position ourselves and get ready to short the market and stay aligned with the primary trend to be able to stay on the right side of risk in all global markets. And that's the whole idea with this new video series, making sure that everything's clear on where the markets are going based on the higher time frame, most probable direction. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you here on the weekly is the weekly RSI. A lot of people have been talking about the weekly RSI. It might be a little bit late now. I mean, it was several weeks ago when social media caught up on this, but you can clearly see on the weekly RSI right here that we've hit an area where we historically have created the bear market bottoms for Bitcoin, right? But it's important to note that even though when Bitcoin entered the oversold territory, we had a drop of 30% before creating the bottom, right? So back in the bottom of 2022, we dropped 30% more after RSI hitting that oversold area. And we also created a bullish divergence on RSI, the weekly RSI, before printing that bottom. So, you know, we can see here that we do have a big move to the upside here on RSI. Same thing as we had back in 2022, right? So in 2022, we had a big move up on RSI, and we're actually hitting the same level right now on that RSI. And then we had a rejection down and created that range. And it's kind of like the same thing that's happening right now. We're bouncing on the RSI, hitting resistance, local range, resistance on RSI. And then what happened was that RSI started moving lower with price, but then it created a higher low. And that was a good, because you had price basically creating lower lows and price and RSI creating higher lows. That was a good indication of RSI giving us that bullish divergence, right? So even with that, we can still see a 30% drop on Bitcoin, which would take us down to the 42K region. And so that's kind of like what I'm watching. I'm not predicting anything. I'm not preparing for 42K. I mean, I don't own any Bitcoin at this stage. I'm trading Bitcoin as a swing trader, but I don't own any spot Bitcoin at this stage because I don't see any signs of the bear market being over. I know what I want to see for me to know or understand that there might be an end to the bear market, but I'm not seeing that. Okay, so that's the bigger picture view on Bitcoin, right? Now on the local timeframes, we see that we have somewhat of a range here, right? And we had a deviation above range high right here. That turned out to be a fake out. This area right here turned out to be a fake out. We came straight down to the range EQ area at around 68K. Strong bullish candle right here. I believe that was the candle created on the news that the US were going to pause attacks on Iran for 5 days. So we had a good bounce right here. But we're not really seeing any follow through, are we? I mean, that wick on the next bearish candle, that's nice, right? It's good, but we're not really seeing any strong follow through. And even if we do break above this range high, which I think if we do break above this range high and can establish a support here, I think there is a fairly good likelihood that we're going to hit that 80 to 85k region above as kind of like a relief rally, and then potentially hit that resistance for a continuation downwards in the bear market, right? And this is very much tradable, you know, going long here and then selling here. But the way I'm trading, I'm not interested in trading against the primary trend. I mean, I am short right now as a trade on Bitcoin here, and I'm looking to take profits down here. So if we break out, I can stop that. But if we follow the primary trend and the the pattern that happened here, we might get rejected here and move down to the range low area. And that's the only way I'd like to be trading. Make sure that I'm always trading within the primary trend. Let's do some volume analysis. And you know what? I might actually upload this video as a individual video on Bitcoin, because it's getting quite long. So I might use this video on Bitcoin and then do another video on the Forex market. But let's add the accumulation and distribution indicator. So what we want to see on the accumulation and distribution indicator is when price is making newer highs, we want to see the accumulation distribution indicator making new highs as well, telling us that there is a lot of buying volume behind this move, and there's a lot of momentum. So this indicator is measuring if it's kind of like the OBV, right? But the OBV is very binary. The OBV basically tells you, okay, if it's a bullish candle, you add that volume to the indicator. If it's a bearish candle, you subtract that volume from the indicator. And the accumulation distribution indicator does the same, but it only adds, or it adds more volume on bullish days where the close is further away from the open, basically telling you if there's a strong bullish candle with a lot of buying momentum, a lot of that candle gets, all of that gets added to the accumulation distribution indicator. But if you have like a indecision candle like here, not a lot of that gets added. And if we put on the OBV indicator, you can see the difference here. OBV actually created a significantly higher high here compared to that one, but that's because he just had a lot of bullish candles and no bearish candles. But the shape of the candles matter, and that's what the accumulation and distribution indicator takes into consideration. So you can see here that there's no higher highs. There's actually, you know, lower highs. So there's a deviation here in volume. Now, if you look at the actual volume here, the spot volume on Bitcoin, you can see that all throughout this so-called uptrend, right, where you have people are looking at this and saying this is an uptrend. Well, volume is not confirming that, right? You want volume to confirm an uptrend. If prices goes up, volume should increase. If volume is decreasing and it's an uptrend, then the volume is not confirming price. So you have no confirmation on accumulation distribution indicator. You have no confirmation on volume. This is not a strong uptrend, and the context matter here, right? This is a range. This is not an uptrend. Don't be fooled by the social media hype on Bitcoin being like in an uptrend, the equities being in a downtrend or whatever. This is a range bound. This is nothing to do with trending behavior. And in this range, volume is obviously decreasing. And the thing is, like, if we do get a break above the range highs with a significant spike on volume, like we got here when we entered the range, if we do get a breakout with significant spike in volume and a new high on the accumulation distribution indicator, now that might be a sign that there's some strength behind that breakout, and that is something that I might be looking at and say, okay, now it might make sense to ride that potential relief rally. But because of the fact that we're trading against the primary trend, you got to be very, very careful. All right, so I'm gonna upload this video as a separate video on the Bitcoin, and then go and analyze the Forex markets in a separate video. Well, I would like to thank you all for watching this video. Thank you for your time. Time is all we have. You can't get any of this time back. So I really do appreciate you taking the time and spending the time here with me today. If you like these short videos and me helping you understand the primary trends on the market and breaking down Bitcoin and doing more deep, in-depth analysis on technicals, no editing, just me and the charts, you watching, me explaining what my thoughts are on the markets, trying to align you with the primary trend, hit the like, subscribe, and if there's anything you'd like me to cover, any specific questions, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next one.